Go ahead, Coach.
Good morning, everybody. First off, would like to thank the Orange Bowl. This has been a fantastic experience for our team and our staff. I think it's been since 1960, since University of Georgia was here at the Orange Bowl. For me, this is my first time professionally. I know for several of our coaches and staff and players. So coming here, it's a unique experience. We got in last night, or I guess yesterday afternoon. We're able to get settled, and so far everything has been absolutely first class. I'm really proud of the work our team has done to get here. Proud of their preparation here once the season wrapped up and going into the holidays. Our guys are eager and hungry to get back out there on the field together, and certainly excited to see the product that we're able to put on the field here when we hit the field against Michigan. That being said, we can go ahead and get opened up.
All right, first question, Ralph Russo, go ahead.
Hey, Dan, congratulations on the new gig. Wanted to ask you about, obviously, the last game. I know you've been asked about that a lot, but I guess what I'm wondering is when you have one bad game out of the season, what does that look like when you go back and start reviewing that compared to other games? Is it a back to the drawing board situation? Is it a just, oh no, we only need to make a couple of tweaks? Like when you're sort of recovering from a game where a lot of things didn't go right, what does it look like for a coach to dig in on that compared to games where a lot of things went right, which you had for most of the season?
Yeah, I think you have to approach it like any game that we have had this season, where you go back and you try to be analytical regardless of the result. We take a deep dive of every single game. When we're successful, we take a deep dive when we're not. And our approach didn't change after this past game. I think you give a lot of credit where credit's due. They did a great job against us, and I think there left a little bit of hunger there for us, Ralph, to go back out there and get an opportunity to play again.
Okay, next question, Dennis Dodd, go ahead.
Dan, kind of the same thing again. Congratulations on Oregon. Is there a wounded pride factor to this, to the defense? I know Ralph asked the question, but just digging down on this, do you have to address that first, or again, is it all technical?
Our guys are excited to compete. I mean, every time we take the field, I don't think it matters if it's practice and we're doing team run against each other, or if it's game day. Our guys want to go out there and prove their worth. I think they've done that week in and week out this season. And the fact that we had a hiccup doesn't affect what we want to do going forward. Luckily for us, ending that game, every single one of our goals, still stands in front of us. And this opportunity, there's 4 teams in the nation that get to go play right now at this level. I think we recognized that opportunity in front of us and want to go take advantage of it.
Okay, next question is for Mark Schlabach. Go ahead.
Morning, Dan. Can you just describe what the last few weeks have been like, trying to balance the new role and your responsibilities at Georgia and keeping the proper balance? And I know you've hired a few assistant coaches. How much have you been able to get out to Eugene, if at all?
I went out one time initially, right after getting hired, and really excited about what we're putting together there. My focus, the good thing, again, West Coast being 3 hours behind us, is giving us the opportunity to be able to really focus on Georgia early on during the day, and then later on at night, able to get a lot of things accomplished with our team there at Oregon and our staff as we're piecing that together.
And next question for Tim Reynolds.
Dan, good morning. We're seeing, we all know what's going on in the world right now with the virus numbers, of course. We're seeing some bowl games unable to go forward.
Hey, Tim, sorry you got cut off there. Can you repeat that question?
Yeah, Dan, I was asking you about the virus and what's going on. We see some bowl games unable to go forward. You guys are here to be safe, but also it's a bowl game. You want the kids to have an experience. How important is that balance that, you have the beach outing and team dinners and stuff like that? How important is that even at a time like this to give the kids that bowl experience?
Ultimately, I think every one of our kids, if you ask them, would tell you we came here for one purpose. But I'll say this: I've got tremendous amount of respect for our medical staff. Ron Corson and his staff, and the precautions they've taken to prepare our kids. I also give our players a lot of credit for how diligent they've been on taking proper precautions, whether it be wearing the mask through the hotel or when they're out and about. But we came here to win a football game, and we're excited about everything that the Orange Bowl does for our players, but there's no secret what we came here for.
Next question for Andrea Adelson. Go ahead.
Hey, Dan, when you look at Michigan and their offensive line and what they do with their running backs, what type of challenge do they present that might be a little bit different than what you've seen this season?
Yeah, Michigan plays football. You got to give Coach Harbaugh and Coach Gaddis credit with the way they have running backs that can run the ball. They use tight ends, like a lot of people don't use tight ends today. In some ways similar to what our offense does. They run hard mouth, smash mouth football plays. They demand some physicality up front, which I know we're excited to see. And then they have the ability to attack you downfield. So I just think they show tremendous balance in the way they prepare, in the way they play the game. And it's going to be a physical football game, which I know we certainly appreciate.
Okay, next question for David Hale.
Hey, Dan. Cade McNamara has a very interesting throwing motion for a quarterback. It's sort of that sidearm, almost like a shot put type of delivery. Have you seen that before with a quarterback? And what does that present a different challenge for your guys who are trying to disrupt passing lanes and stuff like that?
For us schematically, I don't think we change a lot of how we attack that. But I do think he has an extremely quick release. That shows up on film. He's very accurate with the way he delivers the ball, and the fact that he can release it from different passing angles is unique. Always for us, there's going to be an emphasis in trying to affect the passer, and what that looked like, and can be different based on each game. But for him, that's no different for us. We want to be able to get our hands up, get in passing lanes. We want to be able to close, to him and create some tough throws. And then we want to make sure he has to throw into tight windows. So, but he's shown that he can do that. So he is going to give us an opportunity. We have to go out there and play our best to be able to stop that.
Thanks. Next question from Mike Griffith.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, excuse me. Can you unmute me? Please? Dan,
You're unmuted, Mike. Go ahead. You can talk.
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate you calling somebody that covers the team. Dan, a two-part question here. One, Michigan does profile as a power team, and yet they have all these explosive plays over 50, 60, and 70 yards. Can you explain that paradox? And two, what was it like when Will slid into the secondary, and what was it like working with Coach Muschamp back there on defense?
Yeah, absolutely. But first starting off with the explosive plays, I think what you'll see is they're very creative on offense with what they do, and they do a great job attacking poor eye discipline. There's multiple plays they use to set up the next play, whether it be play action runs to set up play action shots down the field, whether it be their misdirection game with reverses, flea flickers. They do a great job utilizing trick plays to get the ball extended down the field, as well as those shots. And then, to answer the second part of your question, Coach Muschamp has been invaluable to us, just from an experience standpoint. I think he does a good job of communicating with our players. I know our guys really love being coached by Will. I certainly love having him in the room. He's been a good guy for me to be able to lean on, and our coaching staff to be able to lean on, with his experience and just with his demeanor and his approach every day, the way he comes to work. It's been fun to be around.
Okay, next question for Chip Towers. Go ahead, Chip.
Yeah, Coach, probably the craziest thing about that SEC championship game, when I look at it, is 0 sacks. That was certainly not you guys' MO at all this year. Was that a product of scheme, do you think, or was that more of just what Alabama was able to do, on the offensive line? And how different is it going to be? Is that necessary when playing somebody like Michigan?
Yeah, I mean, always you want to be able to affect the passer, like I said before. I think it's a combination. They did a great job doing some things different schematically, and then obviously you have a quarterback back there that's elusive and able to run. Created some opportunities that were made it hard for us to get them down. Several close calls that we weren't able to finish on. So certainly been a point of emphasis for us moving forward, and something we want to be able to take advantage of in this game. But they're a good offensive line. They do a good job protecting the quarterback. So we have to try to find unique ways to create that pass rush.
And next question for Mark Weiser.
Hey, Dan, in terms of the defense for this game, what is different about the operation of the coaching staff-wise, given that your plate's been full and in the lead up to the game, and then the game planning and who will call the plays Friday night?
Yeah, our approach will be very similar to what it's been all season. Nothing's really going to change from the way we operate, whether it be, luckily with bowl prep, there is a lot more time. There is a lot of time to be able to get ready. And I think a lot of times people make the mistake of trying to do too much in a shortened window, So we'll operate very similar to what we've operated all season. I'll still be making the calls, but every single one of our defensive coaches have been extremely involved throughout the week. Throughout our preparation, and this is a team effort. It's been a team effort all season. That doesn't change for just this one game, whether it be Coach Smart's involvement, Coach Schumann, Coach Scott, Coach Adai, Coach Muschamp. There's a lot of hats, and there's a brain trust that kind of goes into how we operate, and our players are very involved in that. So everything's going to be operating like it has all season.
And next question is for Zach Klein.
Hey, Coach, what has Hassan Haskins done to get cooking lately? 7 touchdowns his final 2 games. And have you broken down a meeting by saying go Ducks instead of go Dogs?
No meetings here have been broken down like that. No, great question. Hassan and really their whole backfield, those guys are extremely physical. They run tough. I know for us, personally, we've shown a lot of film of these guys breaking tackles. And the way they run hard. Very rarely are they running to avoid contact. They're running to create contact. I think that shows up in the way that they play week in and week out. But they have a real disciplined approach. They're going to make sure that they emphasize running the ball, and that's shown up a lot with Hassan and all the running backs.
Okay, next question is for Pat Forty.
Hey, Dan. Question there. You mentioned how they attack eye discipline. How would you say that you guys poor eye discipline? Sorry, your team's eye discipline has been, and how do you coach that?
Yeah, I think you just have to recreate as much of that as possible within practice and within walkthroughs and film study. Our players, take a tremendous amount of pride in doing their jobs and doing it correctly. But you have to recreate some of those tough moments, some of those conflict plays within practice. And you have to work setup plays in practice to set up a tougher play throughout the game. And I would say at the end of the day, our guys have been really solid all season. From an eye discipline standpoint, certainly there's some moments that we feel like we could be a lot better. But we challenge ourselves to try to make practice harder than the game. And we've been able to do that, for the most part this season.
All right, we're going to take a couple more questions here. Next one is for Connor Riley.
Hey, Dan, I wanted to ask you about Glenn Schumann and sort of how he has grown as a coach over your time together at Georgia, especially with him already sort of having the co-defensive coordinator role.
Yeah, Glenn's a phenomenal coach. He's also a great friend. He cares about his players tremendously. They have a huge amount of respect for Glenn and the way he works day in and day out. He's a diligent worker. He's extremely smart. He's somebody that I've leaned on my entire time here at Georgia, just because I have a lot of respect for how Glenn handles himself. He's obviously extremely intelligent and does a great job of helping us game plan and create opportunities for our players. So he's grown every single year as a coach. I think that's one of the things that's unique about this environment is coaches is developed this setup here where people can grow, and we're lifelong learners in this group, and Glenn's certainly an example of that.
We'll do 2 more questions. Next one's for Anthony Dasher.
Hey, Coach, sorry about that. Ask about Chris Smith just real quick. I know he's still a bit banged up for the SEC championship game. How much does the 3 weeks off allow him to maybe get back to his old self? And as far as the star position, I know William Poole got the start against Alabama. Is this a kind of a game where maybe Latavius Bringy maybe kind of brought back to the folks? It seems like this is more of this suits his style of play.
Yeah, I think the time off in general for all of our players, including Chris, has been, very beneficial from a recovery standpoint. Our guys have been really working hard in the training room to accelerate some of that recovery. And I know going into this game that both Poole and Brini both are attacking this thing, ready to go play and go get to work. So excited to see what both those guys are able to do.
Okay, last question before bringing in the players. Go ahead, Dennis. Dennis Dodd, last one.
Yeah, Dan, you mentioned the time difference on the West Coast. How late are you working if you're keeping the Oregon work, I guess, to the second half of the day?
I don't clock in and clock out. We work until the work's done. Sometimes that's later than other nights, but we've hit a couple late nights. But no lack of energy or ability to roll here. I'm excited about the opportunity. Obviously, out there, tremendous opportunity. But our players and coaches here have done a great job of affording me that opportunity. So I'm not going to do a disservice to our guys by not finishing this the right way and the effort that I put in to what we've done here.
All right, thank you, Coach.